You weren't born in sin. You were born in truth, but the world made you forget it. From the moment you arrived, they started programming you. You're just human. God is out there. You're not enough. And like most people, you believed it. You forgot that God isn't a being separate from you. God is you. That's not arrogance, that's reality. The only real sin is the moment you agreed to live as less than you are. Look at your life. How many times have you doubted your worth, begged for love, feared failure? That's what happens when you forget your true nature. But here's the shift. When you remember, and I mean deeply remember, your energy changes, your decisions change, and life starts bending in your favor. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop chasing and start commanding. And it happens fast. You've spent years trying to become something. Now it's time to remember what you already are. 1. The grand illusion. How you forgot who you are. From the moment you took your first breath, the world started shaping your identity. Your name, your culture, your beliefs. They were all handed to you like a script in a play. You learned to see yourself as a separate individual, struggling to survive in a chaotic world. But what if that was the greatest trick ever played? What if the real you isn't the character in the story, but the one writing it? The illusion of separation is so deeply embedded that most never question it. Look around. Everything you believe about reality was taught to you. Society, religion, and even science conditioned you to see limits where none exist. You were told you had to earn love, fight for success, and fear the unknown. But this is only true if you accept the rules of the game. The moment you realize that consciousness is the true creator, the walls start to crumble. You don't have to live as a prisoner of human consciousness when you were meant to embody something far greater. Think about dreams. When you're inside one, everything feels real until you wake up. This life is no different. The only reason the illusion holds power over you is that you believe in it. But cracks in the illusion appear when you start asking the right questions. Have you ever had moments where time seemed to stop? Where you felt something beyond words? That's the real you, peeking through the noise. The more you recognize it, the more you wake up. Remember, God isn't separate from you. God is the consciousness flowing through you, creating every experience you call life. The biggest mistake isn't failing, losing, or making bad choices. It's forgetting who you are. The second you remember, everything shifts. Life stops being something that happens to you and starts being something you shape at will, and that's where the real game begins. 2. The mind as the architect of reality. Here's the part most people never get taught. Your reality isn't fixed. It's built from the inside out. Every belief you hold, every story you tell yourself becomes the blueprint your world follows. Think of your mind like a projector. Whatever's playing in there gets cast onto the screen of your life. If you constantly think you're not good enough, guess what? Life will reflect that back to you in situations, people, and challenges that keep proving you right. But here's the twist. When you change the program, the projection changes too. Let's say a man believes he's unlucky in love. He repeats it so often, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if he dares to shift that belief, if he starts saying, "I am love, and love finds me easily," something starts to shift. Not because the universe magically changed, but because his consciousness did. Reality, as he knew it, obeys the new command. That's the power most people sleep on. The mind isn't just processing life, it's designing it. When you start paying attention to your thoughts, you start seeing your patterns, and from there, you can break them. Instead of saying, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What belief in me created this?" That one question opens the door to reclaiming your identity, not as a victim of life, but as the God behind the scenes. This is where the illusion of separation loses its grip. You're not here to react, you're here to create. The more you accept that you're not a passive observer but the architect of your experience, the more powerful you become. The mind stops being a prison and starts becoming your greatest tool. And once that clicks, the next layer of the illusion starts to fall away. 3. Fear. The program that keeps you small. Fear is the favorite weapon of the illusion. It whispers in your ear every time you dare to break the mold. What if you fail? What will they think of you? What if you lose everything? These thoughts don't come from your eternal soul. They come from the conditioning of a limited mind, a mind that forgot its divine roots. But here's the thing, fear isn't real. It's a story, loud, emotional, and convincing, but still just a story. A man might dream of starting his own business, but fear kicks in. You're too old. It's too risky. You've got bills to pay. That fear doesn't come from God. It comes from a belief that he's not the one creating his reality. Once he realizes that consciousness is the source, not the obstacle, the fear starts to fade. Not because the risk disappears, but because he stops believing the fear is the truth. Fear only survives when you believe you're separate from life, separate from God. But a God doesn't tremble in the face of uncertainty. A God knows that everything happening is happening through them, not to them. That's why the ones who break free from fear always seem untouchable. It's not luck or magic, it's memory. They remembered who they are. And when you remember, you move differently. Next time fear shows up, don't fight it, observe it, sit with it in silence. Ask yourself, who is the one afraid? That one question alone can dissolve the illusion, because fear can't survive when you're fully present. And that presence, that stillness, starts pulling you into something deeper, something that doesn't speak in words but in truth. 4. Silence. The doorway to divine awareness. Most people spend their entire lives drowning in noise, external chaos, internal chatter, endless distractions. But silence is where the real magic happens. It's not just about muting the world. It's about tuning into the signal behind the noise. That subtle hum that reminds you there's more to you than thoughts, titles, and to-do lists. In that stillness, something ancient wakes up. It's not new, it's just been waiting for your attention. Try this. Turn off your phone, sit in a quiet room and just breathe. No music, no guided meditation, just you and the silence. At first, the mind will freak out. This is boring. What's the point? But stay with it, breathe through it. Suddenly you'll notice a presence, not outside, but inside. That's you, not the character, you. The awareness that's always been watching the show. In that space, the illusion of separation starts to lose its grip. You realize that you're not your problems, not your body, not even your mind. You're something much deeper, something that doesn't need fixing. And here's the wild part. The more time you spend in silence, the louder this truth gets. It starts guiding you effortlessly. No drama, no confusion, just clarity from a place beyond thought. This is why mystics, sages, even hardcore entrepreneurs talk about stillness. It's not just spiritual fluff, it's fuel. You don't need to become a monk. Just start with 5 minutes a day, before bed, after waking up, during lunch break. That silence is the doorway. And the deeper you go, the more you'll notice another power starting to take over. One that doesn't wish, hope, or desire. It simply wills. 5. Will versus desire. How a God creates. Most people spend their lives chasing money, love, success. Always in pursuit. Always one step behind. Why? Because desire comes from the belief that something is missing. But a God doesn't chase. A God declares. There's no begging, no hoping, just pure certainty. When you're operating from consciousness, not fear, not ego, you don't desire your reality, you will it into being. That's not fantasy, that's alignment. Let's take a simple example. A man wants to get healthy. If he desires it, he keeps saying, "I wish I could lose weight," and he stays stuck. But if he wills it, he says, "I am health. My actions match my knowing. Now, he's not hoping to change. He's already it. He eats differently, moves differently, thinks differently, not because he's forcing it, but because the decision was already made. That's the difference. Desire has a built-in message, I don't have. And the universe, being the mirror of your consciousness, reflects that lack back to you. But when you will something from your true self, the universe says, got it, and starts moving in your favor. Not because you're lucky, but because you finally stopped outsourcing your power. God doesn't wonder if it's worthy, God commands. And your consciousness is that very same force. This doesn't mean you sit on the couch and visualize all day. Will requires action, but it's action backed by identity. You don't hustle for crumbs when you know you own the bakery, so stop wanting so much. Start being. Wake up and say, today I will experience peace, abundance, clarity. Then move like it's already yours, because in truth it is. And the moment you accept that, something even deeper begins to rise within you. 6. Absolute responsibility, the end of victimhood. Here's the raw truth. Nothing in your life is random. That breakup, that job you lost, even the traffic jam this morning, it's all connected to your state of consciousness. Now that might sting a little, especially if you're used to pointing fingers. But the moment you stop blaming others and start owning everything, your life begins to change. Responsibility isn't punishment, it's power. It's how a god takes back control. Let's say a man keeps attracting disrespectful people into his life. Easy to say, people suck. Harder to ask, what inside me is allowing this? But that question, that's the key. Because when he shifts that inner belief, maybe around self-worth or boundaries, the outer world reflects the upgrade. The mirror doesn't lie. It just shows you what you're being, not what you're pretending to be. That's what consciousness does. Now, this doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong. It means claiming it, seeing every challenge as a message, not a curse. That illness? Maybe it's a call to slow down. That toxic relationship? A reflection of where you've abandoned yourself. When you take full responsibility, you don't become weaker. You become unshakable, because no one can take from you what you've already claimed as yours. A god doesn't whine. A god adjusts. You start moving through life like a chess master, not a pawn. Every piece has purpose. Every move is yours. And once you start living like this, the game changes. You stop fearing the storm, and you start walking through it like you called it in the first place. And that's when something extraordinary starts happening. You stop surviving and start dreaming consciously. 7. Waking up in the dream, mastering the game of life. Most people live like they're trapped in a movie they didn't choose, reacting to scenes they didn't write. But once you realize this life is a dream, and you're the one dreaming, it hits different. You stop trying to control everything outside and start mastering what's going on inside. That's the real flex. You stop being a puppet of circumstances and become the director, the writer, the whole damn studio. Here's where it gets fun. Let's say your day starts badly. You spill coffee, get stuck in traffic, someone snaps at you. Instead of spiraling, you pause and remember, this is a dream. I'm the one creating the tone. So you shift your focus, take a breath, maybe even laugh. That one moment of awareness flips the script. Suddenly, your energy shifts, and the day bends with it. That's not luck. That's consciousness in action. When you wake up inside the dream, everything becomes lighter. Not because life gets easier, but because you stop taking it so damn seriously. You realize the obstacles, the delays, the plot twists, they're all designed to nudge you back to your real identity. The dream isn't here to punish you, it's here to show you where you're still asleep, and the more you wake up, the more life becomes play, not war. Mastering the game isn't about control, it's about presence. You're not here to survive every scene. You're here to remember you're the dreamer. Every experience becomes a choice, not a trap. And when you live from that space, life flows, not because it's perfect, but because you finally are. And from here, the truth you forgot starts knocking louder, ready to be heard.